Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm LJ if you're new here. So today's video is a one-on-one class, okay? I'm going to be showing you guys my technique on how I like to set my under eyes so they don't feel dry. I got a couple questions. I still see people commenting on my videos like asking about like dry under eyes. So I wanted to just create this video generally showing you guys steps that I like to take into my routine. Not even just like my makeup routine, but also like my skincare routine into making sure that my under eyes are not dry when I apply makeup. Because child, when I tell you guys my under eyes be dry, it be drier than the Sahara Desert. That's all I know. It just feels so uncomfortable. So I like to take steps into making sure that they're not dry. So I'll be sharing with you guys all these tips and tricks, both skincare and makeup. So if you're interested, keep on watching. But if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and join the LJ family because I would love to have you on my channel. I post here every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 5 p.m. Hit the bell so you're always notified of a new upload. So without further ado, let's get into the video.
KLJ, welcome to a channel where it's poppin'. Welcome to a YouTube.
For some reason, I get a lot of questions about dry under eyes, even though I have two setting powder videos where I show how to set your skin for non-creasing under eyes and then how to set your skin for non-dry under eyes. However, I don't feel like that video was very elaborate because there is a process that I take to make sure that my under eyes are not dry because I myself suffer from extremely dry under eyes. Okay, when I wake up in the morning, my under eyes, I can feel the dryness under my eyes. So I usually have to take a few steps before applying makeup to make sure that my under eyes are not dry. So first things first, when I wake up in the morning, I cleanse my face and then I use a toner all over my face. When you have dry under eyes, you want to make sure, one, you're getting enough sleep, okay? We cannot be out here looking like raccoons, okay? You want to make sure that your skin is very much hydrated, okay? That's the most important thing. So I like using a hydrating toner. You guys know I really like that fresh toner. You don't have to use that. You can use another rose water toner that you please. I know there's so many of them in the drugstore that you can get, but after doing that, I like to go in with eye patches. So I have these eye patches right here that I'm going to be using. You can use any type that is hydrating. I like to stick to products that have hyaluronic acid because that is a really hydrating ingredient. So this one is a water-based eye patch and it gives my skin a lot of hydration. All the products that I'll be using today will be linked in the description box. So if you're interested in checking any of the products out, I'll have the links in the description box. So this is the eye patch and this is what it looks like. It soaks in water. I highly recommend if you have dry under eyes to use eye patches because they absolutely hydrate your under eyes. So before you're applying makeup, under your eyes feel already comfortable. I do feel like these are one of those things that seem like luxury products that you don't really need, but I do feel like they're very important. So I just like to take this eye patch, place it right under my eye around this area right here and press that in. You want to get all those juices. So this will really get that product to settle under your eyes to get rid of that dryness. Even if you don't have dryness under your eyes, I do think this is like a good technique to do because it keeps your under eyes looking very young because as we age, under our eyes, especially if we're applying a lot of makeup and we're taking it off all the time, we're stripping our skin of that collagen. So I think it's very important to use eye patches because they lock in that hydration and keep under your eyes very much hydrated. So you don't have to have dry under eyes for you to use eye patches. I do think that they're very much important for everybody. So I just like to press that in. And then once I apply this, I like to let it sit for about like 15 minutes. Let myself probably like grab a cup of tea or something like that and then come back and put on my makeup. All right, once 15 minutes has elapsed, I usually just take this out, dispose of them. And then I like to use this Fenty skin roller. You can use any type of eye roller. So I usually use a face roller and then I have one for the eyes. This Fenty one is really nice because it has this part right here that has this cold type of feeling to it. So I like to use this eye roller and roll that product into my skin. This is going to help cool your under eyes and kind of get that product to settle onto your skin. Once you do that, you can move on to makeup. So I don't apply an eye cream under my eye before makeup. It will make your concealer and foundation crease, so you definitely don't want to apply eye cream. You want to apply your eye cream at night so that the hydration is locked under your eyes. So when you wake up in the morning and you're ready for makeup application, your under eyes are not too dry. So I just move on to primer, and I'm going to use the Fenty Beauty Hydrating Primer. So I'm sticking to hydrating products, especially if I can feel that my skin is extra dry. So I just use this hydrating primer, apply it all over my skin. And I also like to place this under my eye just to make sure that that part is also being primed. Alright, so once you apply primer, you want to move on to foundation like you usually do. So I'm going to be using the Rare Beauty foundation. So you can use any type of foundation. You can use a matte foundation, hydrating, luminous, whatever works or floats your boat. I love this Rare Beauty foundation for the summer and the winter. So I'm going to apply this one. And I'm going to blend it out with a beauty blender. A beauty blender blends out perfectly for me for my skin. So this is the e.l.f. beauty sponge. And usually when I blend out my foundation, I try to leave my under eye away. So I don't put foundation under my eyes because I find that just caking up products under your eye is what causes the dryingness and the creasing and things like that. So when I'm blending out the foundation, I just kind of like slightly go over it, but I don't focus like underneath my eyes, and I just kind of blend it all over. And so as you can see, my under eye has a little bit of foundation, not too much, just enough foundation to cover up the darkness under my eyes. So when you apply too much foundation under your eyes and then you're going in with concealer, then you're going in with setting powder, you're building kind of like so much product under your eyes, so it kind of feels very uncomfortable. So I like to leave it very much free because I'm going to apply concealer anyways. So for concealer, you definitely want to use a hydrating concealer, especially if you have dry under eyes. I love hydrating concealers because under my eye is very sensitive, and I want to make sure that it's being hydrated while the concealer is sitting onto my skin. So I really like the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hydrating Concealer. Even though hydrating concealers tend to crease more, I try to prevent that with setting powder, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. But I like this concealer. Another affordable concealer is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. These are my two favorite hydrating concealers that I would recommend. That is amazing if you have dry under eyes. So I'm going to be using the Pretty Fresh one, and the shade that I usually use is 158W, but I'm gonna mix it and add a little bit of the shade 145W as well. Sometimes I use a matte concealer just depending on how my under eye is feeling, but hydrating concealers are what help my under eye feel a little bit more comfortable. So I place a very small amount, and with concealer you don't want to cake it up, okay? Because just because you're putting more concealer does not make your makeup more flawless, okay? So I usually focus around this area where discoloration is, and then of course right here to give my skin that lifted look. And then I'm just going to place a little bit on my forehead area. And then the secret to blending out your concealer is using a damp beauty blender. I love using a damp beauty blender because some of that water from the beauty blender mixed with the concealer kind of helps hydrate under my eyes. So if you're using a brush and you have really dry under eyes, I would recommend switching to using damp beauty blender, more so the one that you use for your foundation, because it still be damp, just use a different side. And that's what I like to do to make sure that a little bit of that concealer is still being hydrated a little bit with that water. You don't want the beauty blender to be wet, okay? It shouldn't be wet. It shouldn't be drooping with water, okay? It should be damp, as in like if you squeeze it, there's no water coming off from the beauty blender, but it kind of still has that wet texture. So that's what I like to do. I don't let my concealer sit on my skin anymore because sometimes it becomes harder to blend, and I still feel like I get the exact same type of coverage if I just lightly press under my eyes, not too much. Alright, so of course, once you apply the concealer, I went ahead and applied contour and blush. So now I'm ready to set my skin. So setting powder. Let's talk about setting powder, because setting powder is the thing that makes your under eyes dry. So you want to make sure that your technique in applying setting powder is one that is beneficial for your under eyes. So I like using a loose setting powder. You can use any other type of setting powder, anything that basically sets your concealer. So I'm going to use this Anastasia setting powder in the shade Deep Peach. And one thing I like to do when it comes to setting powder is use a beauty blender. And I like using one that is damp, okay? So you can use the same one that you use to apply concealer. I like using damp products under my eye because that water keeps my under eyes hydrated. So I just place a very small amount. So you don't want to place too much because that's what's going to create that Sahara desert underneath your eyes that you're trying to avoid. So you want to place a very small amount. Place it at the back of your hand to just kind of like press it in. And literally, I am just pressing this right under my eye like this. I don't bake, okay, because baking is the most drying and uncomfortable feeling when it comes to makeup for me. So you really just want to press that in there. Apply it all over the places that you applied concealer, and you can add more if you want, like on your forehead area and other places that are not too drying. So if you're somebody who likes very natural makeup looks, you don't really want that highlighted look under your eye, but you still want to set the concealer, I would definitely say try setting your concealer with a pressed powder. For instance, this type of setting powder, this one is by ColourPop. You want to use a powder like this because this one is very lightweight and it's not too heavy under your eyes, so you're not going to feel that dryness. So another thing that I like to do after setting powder is using another setting powder, but it's a different type. So I like using a loose finishing setting powder on top of this. Now, loose finishing setting powders are different from just loose powders. The finishing within the powder is specifically for wrinkles under your eyes or fine lines under your eyes. So you know when your under eyes are really dry, they form those wrinkles and they form those fine lines. Finishing powders are also for mature skin. So if you have mature skin and you kind of want that nice flawless look, you definitely want to try using a finishing powder, okay? So I would say try using a pressed powder, and then on top of that pressed powder, use a finishing setting powder to give you that nice flawless finish. So the one that I like using is this one by Maybelline. It is the Fit Me Loose Finishing Setting Powder in the shade Medium Deep. And what I do is on top of that setting powder that I applied, I like to use the exact same sponge that I used to apply that, and literally taking about this much, like not a lot at all. I'm gonna use that and press that right under my eye right there. Press it in because this kind of gives you a nice finished look, creates that flawless finish under your eye, and gets rid of all the creasing under there. And then I'm taking another very small amount such as this and placing that right underneath right here. And you want to just completely blend it out so it's nice and seamless. You can place a little bit down the bridge of your nose. And then once you apply that powder, you want to go in with a setting mist. So I'm using this Morphe Continuous Mist. So you want to set all that so it melts. It's not too dry under your eyes. So what I like to do is I like to close my eyes, okay? Your eyes should not be opened, okay? This stuff should not be going inside your eyes. You don't want to be blind, okay? So what you want to do is close your eyes and just spray a little bit on your face, and that should really melt that powder. The concealer is going to be locked in, it's going to be nice and creaseless, and it's going to last and won't make your under eyes dry at all. So yeah, that's how I like to do it. And then after, I just like to use the sponge that I use for foundation and just kind of press that in, and I'm pressing it in on the areas that I place foundation. I'm not touching my under eyes or anything. So once I do this, I work on my eyes. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my eyebrows and my eyes, and then just kind of like touch up and finish up the makeup look, and then I'll be back with the final look. Here we have it with the final look. I hope it helped those people who were asking about setting their under eyes so it doesn't feel dry at all. I thought I made a video about it, but when I was watching the video, I didn't really go step in step and specifically focusing on dry under eyes. So I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope the video was helpful. If it was, leave your girl a big thumbs up. Also subscribe if you haven't already done so. I post here every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 5 p.m. I would love to have you on my channel. Hit the bell so you're always notified of a new upload. But other than that, I will see you guys in my next video.
KLJ, welcome to a channel where it's poppin'. You better subscribe, got it on lock, yeah. Got it on lock, yeah. We need more likes, more views, yeah. You can leave a comment too. Welcome to our YouTube. Welcome to our YouTube.